So for this one, again, you are going to need u substitution in addition to the tangent formula or the hyperbolic tangent formula. So you would start off letting u be equal to 3x plus 2, and then your du would be equal to 3 dx. So initially, I think most people would just kind of start with that. So we'll start with that. And when you do that, you'll notice that you do have to multiply n by a 3 in order to get your du. And then you'll have to divide by a 3 on the outside. So for the u substitution part, you'll have 1/3, and then hyperbolic tangent of, and then instead of this 3x plus 2, we will now sub in our u, and then the 3 dx becomes your du. Now, I believe in this book they don't give you a formula for the tangent, and that is true, and that is because what you can do is you can then do another u substitution. So this is where, because you don't have that specific formula, you would have to then think about rewriting this in terms of sine and cosine, just like we did in Calc 1. And then once you rewrite it in terms of sine and cosine, then you would do another u substitution. And remember, whenever there's a toss-up between the numerator and the denominator, we usually want to choose the denominator. So because we're doing a second u substitution, we would call this like w is equal to the hyperbolic cosine, and then our dw would be hyperbolic sine of u du. Okay, and do keep in mind that for cosine it goes to a positive. So sine, cosine, tangent, hyperbolic all go to positive. All right, so to make this substitution happen, we are going to have our 1/3 here, have our integral sign. All of the denominator will become the w, and then all of the numerator will become dw, because again, you have your hyperbolic sine and then your du. Now, to integrate dw over w, that's where from Calc 1 we have to use that's equal to the natural log absolute value of w plus c. And then now that we have it integrated, we can go back and sub in our w. So we sub in our w, and then we'll sub in our u. I do want to mention that you could do this entire problem with just one u substitution, but a lot of times people might not see that, so I wanted to do it with kind of the harder one. But technically, if you had initially rewritten it in terms of sine and cosine hyperbolic, then you could have chosen your u to be hyperbolic cosine of 3x plus 2 and gone through the u substitution. Now, you will note that when you look at an answer key, they are not going to continue to put the absolute values around this hyperbolic cosine, because as we talked about, the definition of hyperbolic cosine is e to the x plus e to the negative x over 2. And this is always positive because e to the x is positive, e to the negative x is positive. So you can, and you probably should, drop those absolute values because they really are unnecessary. So you're just taking the natural log of and then drop the absolute values and then plus c.